Okay, y'all, so let's talk about this. So let me just say, because I had to scrap a couple of videos, I was a bit under the weather, and my voice was just, nah, I can't upload this. Okay, let me say this about AEW World's End. Great show. Follow up, Dynamite, great show. Follow up, Collision, great show. Okay, we just watched the first Collision of 2025 this past Saturday, and it was a banger of a show. That building they were in out in Texas, I like the way that building is constructed. It's just, one of the things I love about what AEW is doing in their travels, they find some very unique buildings, and it's a great feel when you just see a different type of arena, different type of venues. Yeah, that venue I remember them being in. And let me just say, I'm not here to review all the shows, but I want to say this. There's a couple of things. For one, now I'm nobody's fan, but there are people that I enjoy their work more than others, or whatever you have, your favorites. You want to say it like that, but I'm nobody's fan, man. I don't want autographs and pictures with you motherfuckers and none of that shit. Well, let me just say this, okay? For people that are, for all the people that were talking shit about Mercedes Moné, oh man, she keep winning all these belts, and you clearly missed the point. One of the things that Mercedes Moné is doing is giving the rub to other people. When she wins, the company gets more views of whoever she just won that belt in. Because Mercedes Moné is holding that belt, people will watch that video and they'll start seeing wrestlers in that company that they never paid attention to. When she loses it, whether it's to Alex Windsor or whoever it's going to be to, Red Velvet getting her title back, cool. That now the thing is, Alex Windsor now has become a top star. Okay, she's become a wrestling top star because she defeated Mercedes Moné, and the same with Red Velvet. Now they were already solid in the ring. Red Velvet was already one of the top stars, but beating a Mercedes Moné, that solidifies it for her. And basically, when you look at who are people that they put in position to draw more attention, you beat somebody like Mercedes Moné, that's exactly what can happen and what should happen, and that's what will happen. She's not going to hold the belts forever, okay? And for the people that's sitting up here complaining, now all of a sudden she loses. Oh man, now she's losing and she lost everything. No, she didn't. No. And the fact that you go, yeah, but all them other belts don't matter. That's not AEW. Yeah, but they do matter, and they matter to her, and they matter to the companies that she is representing these belts of. And this is exactly, what part of what she wanted to do, and being given the opportunity to go out and do it. If it was Charlotte Flair doing it, okay. If it was Bayley, if it was Rhea Ripley, everybody be eating it up, right? Oh yeah, man, she got all these belts. Yeah, but it's the fact that here's a woman, a black woman, found her way outside of WWE and has done the unspeakable. No, who pictured one day Mercedes Moné is going to hold like 13 belts at one time? One day, nobody saw that coming. And she's been able to go out here and do her thing. She's wrestling, she's traveling, but she is contributing. That's what people don't understand. She's contributing. Not, I got to wait till I'm old and gray and then try to help give back to the business. No, she is contributing. And this is what people fail to understand. So no, nobody's going to be champion forever. No. But Mercedes Moné losing the TBS title to Willow was a beautiful thing. As much as I love seeing her win, I love seeing Willow win. And Willow winning, and this has nothing to do with what I want to see, with who I like more. That has nothing to do with that. I'm saying business-wise. Let's look at it. Willow Nightingale has always been like beloved with the fans. They dance every time she comes out. They're smiling. It's like she brings that type of energy to the room. So now she's a 2-belt holder because she's the tag team champions with Harley Cameron, and she's also the TBS Women's Champion. So, Willow Nightingale winning, she's already one of the most over stars in the company, okay? So her beating Mercedes Moné I mean, Willow was one of those top women anyway, top stars, right there with Mercedes, right there with Toni Storm. All of them. I mean, they've developed characters. They developed um, a rapport with the fans to where they become the big dogs. Listen to Willow's ovation when she comes out. So her winning, it's the start of a new year, man. Seeing Moxley win after Moxley had the kind of year he had, he didn't have a bad year. He just had a situation where, okay, he lost some back-to-back matches and he lost them due to tap out. And you always see Moxley grabbing at that left leg, and every match he's in, at some point he's grabbing at that left leg. So just when it looked like the Death Riders were going down, nope. And what I love too is that he's making people know that Continental Championship is a big deal. He's making it known, and he's about to fight Shelton Benjamin. I think this Wednesday. Moxley winning that title was a shocker. It was a breath of fresh air, because I'm pretty sure the majority of the people thought Okada had it locked up, and Moxley wins it. And he shared that belt with the Death Riders. And that same building they were in just last year, remember, that's where he suffocated Bryan Danielson and got booed. And this same building, now all of a sudden they're cheering him because they wanted him to win the whole thing, and he won the Continental Classic. And that is something that people, if you're not used to tournament wrestling, if you're not used to, like the G1 and everything, then you don't realize that's a big deal in Japan, and like, this is elements that Tony Khan has used to structure a company where we're not copying what everybody else is doing. Like we're not trying to give you, a format that everybody else is doing. We're going to give you something different. And that Continental Classic, man, is like the best tournament. That's the most, like, it's a beautiful thing. The King of the Ring is a tournament, but it doesn't mean anything. It's just some silly shit. Nobody cares about it. And you walk around with a little scepter in your hand, a stupid crown, and a little cape, and then they always, recycle the same stories, storylines with whoever wins the King of the Ring. So when you talk about tournaments, there's none better, in my opinion, than the Continental Classic. In those G1 tournaments. But when you look at it, it was a beautiful thing, man. I've seen, Jet Speed. Different people become stars. Kyle Fletcher, man, Danny Garcia. People are put more in the spotlight now, and they're developing people. Things happen, injuries happen, and then other people have to step up. We haven't seen Jay White for a while, man. We haven't seen Nick Wayne for a while. Injuries and things like that. Will Ospreay, Adam Cole. His career might be done, because it's more than just an injury with Adam Cole. But bottom line, different people step up, and then, hey, man, they put in the right position. Next thing you know, look at Bandito. Like, this is what I'm saying. Like, AEW has some stars, man. They have people that the fans really care to see. And watching World's End was a beautiful show. It's a beautiful show. I've been wanting to put a video out, like I said, but I had to scrap it because I was under the weather and I sound awful. But just in general, Megan Bayne is still undefeated. She has one loss on her record, and that's against Toni Storm, but she also has a pin over Toni Storm in the tag match. So same thing, man. And her and Marina Shafir looking solid. They're coming for those belts, man. Come on. You got Mercedes Moné and Athena together. There's some great things happening in AEW, and 2026 is looking like it's going to be another awesome year for them. Now, when I look at what they have going on for themselves, man, like, AEW is in a great position. Of course, people always want the negativity. Netflix is buying Warner Brothers, and they're going to do this and that. Whatever. When the time comes, then we'll deal with whatever happens then. But in the meantime, like I said, AEW is doing their thing. And I'm looking forward to 2026 with AEW. The next thing I want to talk about. let's go to JCW route. So JCW, okay. I think let me tell you my thoughts on a JCW, what I've seen so far, and what I think about their future. This is what I see. I think JCW is a fun show to watch. It feels like a fun little indie show. That's what it feels like. I've been to big shows. I've been to like the smaller shows. The independent wrestling shows that I've seen have always been like a lot of fun to go to, and it's more intimate because it's smaller. You know, even if it's a nice sized crowd, but it's one level, one like but fun shows. That's what JCW feels like now. Bringing in Vince Russo. Vince Russo claims he's going to beat Raw, like I always say, which is not hard to do in terms of making a better show because Raw sucks, SmackDown sucks, NXT sucks. But here's the deal. I don't think Vince Russo, JCW, have the right pieces to do whatever the vision is that he has. Since Vince Russo's taken over, I've seen two. I've definitely seen two. I'm trying to remember if it's three. But everything that I've seen, the only thing, the changes that were made is no significant changes. One of the biggest changes, the most noticeable changes, is that Vince Russo, Vito, and Vampiro get far more screen time than they need. They look like three old men that can't stand up and talk because they're so damn old that they're just tired all the time and they're always just collapsing on the couch. And Vince is always laying there with his eyes halfway open, shaking his head like he's so stressed out. Their energy is not the same. There's no life in the show, so like nothing to really liven it up. With the roster that they have, Vince Russo puts Vampiro in charge of being the showrunner. That's what he called him. That's his title, the showrunner. And he says he wants him to create chaos. Okay, now this is not nitpicking. I just want to show you the little simple things that I'm saying Vince Russo writing does, that he doesn't pay attention to it, so maybe he will if he saw this video. Vince Russo is telling Vampiro, remember, you're not the boss, you're the showrunner. I don't know what the hell Vito's position is. If Vito's just there, I don't know what the hell Vito's supposed to be. We're the same goddamn suit every episode, but Vince Russo has told Vampiro, I want you to go out there and create chaos. That's what I want. I want you to create chaos. And okay. So Vince Russo, let's start with what Vince Russo did. Okay. Vince Russo, he told Violet J, you can't be a showrunner. A wrestler can't wear a suit. He talks about when a wrestler tries to run a company, talk about the corruption, right, the wrongdoing, the backstabbing, and all that type of stuff. That's what he said. There's a female, I can't remember her name, she's a female wrestler. She told Vince Russo he was sexually harassing her and all this stuff. And he's talking about, I got a granddaughter your age and blah, blah, blah. Then he tells her, I'm not going to promise you I'm going to make you a showrunner, but you got balls. You came in and I like it. You got some balls. He says, but how about I put you in charge of the women's division? You'll be the showrunner for the women. You just told Violent J a wrestler can't be a showrunner. She's a wrestler, but yet you'll allow her to be the showrunner for the women. Like, make that make sense. You just did with one wrestler that you said you couldn't do with another. Right. See, little things like that. The other thing that he did, okay, is when he's telling Vampiro, you are not the boss. You are the showrunner. Because Vampiro took it upon himself to go and rehire people like Madman Pondo. And this was supposed to be a return that was supposed to make the crowd go nuts. Madman Pondo returned to like zero reaction. And the fact that even Vampiro, there's just no energy. These guys are so lifeless. They're just a bunch of old men in the ring. That's just what it's like. Like, there's no presence that they have. There's nothing that they're talking about that you can care about. They have these two little monitors, I don't know, 50-inch monitors maybe on each side of the entrance when you go on the stage, right? The entrance stage. And I seen an episode where they did this little tribute to Violent J, talking about how 26 years he blood, sweat, and tears in JCW. Just put it like that in a nutshell. And you know how when that usually happens, they'll have the overhead camera that shows the crowd watching the monitor at some point too. They didn't do any of that, right? And so what happens is he replaces him. He's the one replacing, Violent J. But what he does, and this is Vampiro I'm talking about. Vampiro brings out after he watches the video. Okay, was it the same show or the following week? He brings out a mystery opponent for Too Tough Tony, right? Who was the JCW World Champion, and he basically has a mystery opponent. That's why Vince Russo was telling him, "You're not the boss. You're the showrunner, not the boss." Right? He's telling him, "Wait till you see the payoff." Okay. So Too Tough Tony comes out. He's pouring alcohol down the mouths of the fans and stuff, whatever. Even a little kid try to get a sip, right? But basically, Too Tough Tony has an opponent come out. And the name of his opponent, this mystery opponent, came out dressed like a purple suited clown, like literally a clown. And he goes, I think his name was called Carnival of Chaos or some shit like that. And they're wrestling, and nobody's reacting to this guy. And they're saying, who is this guy, right? Okay, so Too Tough Tony has a move, if you don't know, where he takes like the alcohol, poured it like a drink, and then he lights it on fire, and he, punches the guy in the face, forehead or whatever. You can see him trying to shake the shit off as he's going for the pin too, right? Because his hand was still on fire. But basically what happens is the ref goes to count 1, 2, and he stops. So he does it again. 1, 2, and he stops. So he had this opponent pinned twice. All right. The referee, you can hear him saying to Too Tough Tony, I'm sorry, I love you, man. I'm sorry. So all of a sudden the guy gets up, and I don't remember if he kicked Too Tough Tony low or whatever he did. But basically, the guy pulls off the mask and reveals himself as Matt Cardona to barely zero reaction. Okay. He goes and hits his finisher and doesn't say a fucking word. Just, First off, wouldn't it make more sense, though, had he finished him off first, then pulled the mask off? It just would have hit a little different, But bottom line, your new world champion in JCW is Matt Cardona. Matt Cardona popped up in AEW a handful of times. TNA, he just popped up like a month and a half ago, was it? At a WWE Raw or SmackDown or whatever the hell it was, and got this shit beat out of him, got beat in a matter of minutes, came out as Zack Ryder, got beat, and same night, Nick Nemeth comes out and got beat by Solo Sikoa, right? Now, my whole thing with that is, first of all, Vince Russo is supposed to be there to clean up any mess that's been, spilled over, right? How are you the boss, though? How are you overseeing? You oversee everything, yet Vampiro brought in a guest, a special wrestler, a guest opponent, right? And he didn't run this by you. You're gonna take his word for it and just trust that he's gonna do the right thing. Now, isn't that what your job is? You're overall, you oversee everything. But somehow, he was able to do this without you knowing. And all while they're sitting up here and, oh, God, give me a break. Oh, man, oh, my blood pressure. Oh, okay. You're not going to take JCW to the next level with a mid-card guy. Okay. Guys like Kerry Morton, I think the fans just don't like him. Not like, he's so good as a heel, they hate him as a heel. No, I just think they just don't like him. Like he sucked, like they don't like him, type of thing. I'm looking at the roster of JCW, and my thing is, they have a small roster, and a lot of the wrestlers that come in at times are not signed exclusively to them. They just come as extras to fill up the card. And when Matt Cardona is your JCW champion, and we've seen him show up too many times to different places, same thing as a mystery opponent and pop up, so the thrill is gone. But when he's your world champion, what does that say? If Matt Cardona, I mean, you have to reinvent people. You have to have people to a point where they can draw now. The fans are seeing them in a different light. And that character has been built up to, like, Matt's a different beast now, right? This is just Matt Cardona. That's it, just Matt Cardona. Nothing special. Look, I think JCW is a fun show to watch, but they just have a lot of things on there. Like, I feel like they need better structure, for one. They need better quality. And guys, if you haven't noticed, they took that nasty plastic down. Well, I said that shit just looks tacky, man. Put up a big curtain or something, man. Do like that plastic has to go. They took that shit down finally. Better production quality, audio and video. That's one of the biggest things TNA faced after, they lost, the Stings and Jeff Hardys and all them, and they ended up in them little tiny ass little small buildings, and the production quality, the microphones, everything sounded terrible. The picture, the quality, like you was watching an old VCR tape or something. It all just felt so cheesy. And I will say, JCW has some fun factors to it. One of the biggest things, like my favorite thing that happened, one of my favorite tag teams, period, in wrestling is the Outbreak. That's the two zombie guys, okay? The two brothers. They won the title. They won, I forget the name of that, because it's a clown team that they beat. To what luchadors are to Mexico, that's what, the clowns are to JCW. When you see wrestlers dressed in some type of clown outfit. It's a fun show to watch, but is it something I feel like is gonna be like they're gonna like mainstream to. When I say mainstream, I mean it amongst other wrestling companies, because if you're talking mainstream just as a whole, being able to compete with basketball and football and the other, no. Wrestling itself just can't. Not AEW or WWE. They can't even do it. Okay. But as far as JCW going to that next level, which is what Vince Russo keeps talking about, I don't see it. I really don't see it. JCW is a fun show, as I said. But I don't think Vince has the right pieces to take it to where it needs to go. I don't think his writing is good enough to do it. And I just feel like JCW is a little small company that has a fun factor that can remain fun. Maybe one day they get a streaming deal, who knows? But however it goes, I don't really see JCW making any real big leaps and bounds. It's too much. People got to understand. People clamor more to something when it feels bigger, and JCW doesn't feel big. I feel like JCW is a company that was designed to do just what it's doing right now. And down the line, Violent J felt different about where the direction of the company, where he wants it to go, which is fine. I'm pretty sure they want to keep their core audience and not change things about the company that can cause them to lose them, because even if you gain new fans, it's so many casuals out here. And for any wrestler, like for me, I don't really need to compare. It's just not necessary. But for people that think JCW is like the best wrestling company out there, They probably more than likely don't like AEW and WWE, NWA. Right? They probably don't like those companies at all. JCW's brand, the way they do wrestling, they don't have great matches. They've had some fun matches. I've seen matches I thought were fun, but I have yet to see any great wrestling matches. Like that's what I don't see. So I feel like with JCW being in that position of trying to transition into to get more eyes on them, Vince Russo knows just by saying he'll beat Raw. Every time somebody see that video, and then they see anything JCW related and see his name and his face, they're gonna, even if to prove him wrong, they're gonna watch. That's what he's trying to sell the company more, trying to sell himself more. They're both brands. Okay, he's a brand and JCW's a brand. And so what Vince Russo trying to create chaos, so to speak, okay, trying to, get people to stir up and talk. But pretty much for people that love WWE and love AEW, they probably won't really like JCW too much. Because JCW wrestling it's like the show is about fun, and they're not trying to like really be like, it's not taken serious, right? And for me, it's entertainment, but I don't see JCW being able to really grow. Not anything significant. Where there's, I just don't see it. Because it's a nice little fun show. That's what it feels like, a nice little fun indie show. You have to restructure that show. Like, example for something, right? Since they don't like to do like interviews where somebody is standing with a microphone talking to different people, okay, cool. So they go with the whole, a person just walking, and now the person talking to the wrestler is the cameraman. So there's no actual interviews like that, right? It's just people, they'll either cut a promo in front of just a video promo, but there's no actual interviews going on. The most talking you get in that sense is like a manager of a wrestler might come in the ring, or they'll talk about who doesn't want to wrestle their wrestler and stuff like that, or whatever. But there's no structure to their show to where it feels like a premium show. They don't have like the announce team, nobody, no backstage segment, no interviews like in that. Look, example. If I said to you, who do you think the most popular wrestler is right now? I'm referee in wrestling is right now. Unbiased people that would think, I guarantee you, Aubrey Edwards will win that fucking right off the bat. Aubrey Edwards, she would win that vote, because people know who the hell she is. You see female referees in WWE. Do you know their fucking names? You understand what I mean? Like off top, people say Aubrey Edwards. If I said to you, who is really the most effective managers out there in pro wrestling right now, first two people come to mind for me is MVP and Don Callis. Okay? For me, the most effective managers in JCW is, of course, the guy that's the manager of the Outbreak, and what's his name, Josephine, whatever her name is, that the manager of what's his name, Congo Kong. You guys remember him, right? Wild ass afro, face paint, big pot belly dude. Him, this guy Beastman, and they have whatever his name is, and then they have this other guy, Mr. Happy, big fat dude wears all black, the onesie strap, and he has a mask with the emoji of a smile on it. That's why he called Mr. Happy. Like, so those two, they can check box on that. If I asked you, who is the most famous interviewer in pro wrestling right now, the most popular face that you'll see? More than likely, you're going to get Renee Paquette, because she's all over the place with what she does. Now, my point with all of that is announce team. Same thing, announce team. If I asked you who's the most popular right now, who do you think the most popular announcers are in pro wrestling? I mean, hell, you're going to get a Tony Schiavone champ. You're going to get a Taz is there, Excalibur's there. Not just who you know, but like who do you get? JR. Some might say Booker T and whoever. But the point is, we know these people. Now, when you talk about the announce team, this is the thing. Stories are being told by the wrestlers in the ring. Stories are being told by the announce team in between matches, during matches. When interviews happen, so stories are being told multiple ways, even through the referees, multiple different ways. When you look at the announce team for JCW, this is what I'm saying. Like, there's nobody in these different positions that has any real popularity. Hell, the wrestlers barely have any popularity. So what I'm saying is, to structure a show to where there's no live interviews, everything is just somebody following you around with a camera, I just don't see like that catching on and people really clamoring to that, because there's no stories being told. There is, but it's more of a like example. The majority of the times is either the camera following Vito, and he goes back there and shove around cocaine and smack him around and he's like, what are you, scared of this guy or something? Just, got this guy back here abusing the talent. Now, at least they did book a match between Cocaine and Vito. So, okay, at least they put him in the ring. But I don't like that whole him bullying people in the back. And it's like, why? Why are you letting this guy bully, first of all? But all of these things, their referees have no real notoriety. Their announce team, nothing special about the announce team. Nothing going on there. Nothing about the ring announcer, the interview. So nobody stands out in these areas. The only people that stands out, in all honesty, that you always see them is Vince Russo, Vito, and Vampiro. They have a wrestler named Kerry Morton. Now, Kerry Morton, of course, is the son of Ricky Morton from the Rock and Roll Express. There's nothing about Kerry Morton that the fans really clamor about. It's like they just don't like the guy. But it seems like he's the guy that they're trying to put in a position to be like that top heel at least. They have no heroes. The only, look, they do have a few good guys that the fans cheer for. But, Willie Mack, Too Tough Tony, they got this ninja something guy. But bottom line, they have no real heroes. They have no faces that can stand up to these bullies and win. Everything about them is like, they're all just so like, they're all just so like the good guys are like weaklings. You understand what I'm saying? They always struggle. They had Willie Mack in the match, right? And I forgot who the hell they were wrestling against. And they had this segment in the match where this chick gets involved. And it was done so weird, man. Like, the chick, she comes out, so she's trying to seduce Willie Mack to get his attention off the match to distract him, right? So he spins her around and does this little ass slap thing. And then, this is supposed to be the humor / entertainment, of whatever. And the fans barely reacted to it. And it's like those type of little tactics. When I see things like that, it's like, okay. And for you to lose like that, you understand what I mean? And yet you're in a position where this fight is a war. This is a war between these two teams. The people involved, and you're not focused. You're not locked in. You get distracted. Typical stuff. But then he winds up giving her a stunner, and that's when the fans they reacted for the stunner. But they need a better structured show to take this to where it's really going to be able to be, compete with AEW or WWE to get people to really tune in and watch this shit. And I don't, a company, let me make this clear. A company doesn't have to have a TV deal for me to be interested in it. It just makes it more fun if I can watch every episode in order so I can understand what's happening, why this is happening. JCW don't really have storylines, man. They just have things happen. The storylines that they have are more like everything is tied into Vito, Vince Russo, and Vampiro. Like, example, this dude is walking around with 2 patches on his neck. So apparently he got bit by the zombies, right? But he's lying to Vince Russo saying that, well, he was in the car with the chick and she brought a friend and they both was sucking on his neck, giving him hickeys or whatever, and all this kind of stuff. We know he's not going to turn into a vampire, but it's like they try to put the humor in it. And this is the type of stuff that, like, it's not okay. That storyline doesn't lead to anything. Like, okay, they bit you because they were in the bathroom. This is what happens. He goes in the back and he starts bullying cocaine. That's the wrestler named Cocaine. That's his gimmick, that he has cocaine in his pocket. And when he pulls it out and then he throws it up and then he really lights up in one of okay. This guy Cocaine used to basically dress like Kane from the WWE. Only his suit was white, all white and black instead of black and red. And I didn't like that version of him. This version of him is more official. Like, he has his own identity now. Like, trying to be, another version of Kane was corny to me. Okay, so what happens is he tells him, you're going to take the urine test. Now, I'm like, why is he even complying with this guy? Okay, but anyway, so he goes, he takes the urine test. This motherfucker feel like he filled the damn, if this was in his cup, it would be like up to here. Like, goddamn, he filled the cup up. So what happens is the zombies happen to be in the bathroom, and they come out of nowhere, and they scare Vito, and Vito gets, he jumps, and he throws the piss in his face, and of course it was probably apple juice or some shit. But he throws it in his face by mistake, and then that's when he gets attacked by the zombies. So apparently the zombies bite him on both sides of his neck or whatever. All right. And watching that, right? And watching that, it's like he does that, and after they won the belts, because they won the tag team belts, I know he comes out there with a stick. He starts wearing both of them out, but they won't stay down. They get up and he runs out the ring. But it doesn't lead to anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't lead, like okay, now what? After that, what happens? It's like the storyline doesn't go past the night. That's how that's how their storylines go. Like, let's say if tonight, whatever happens tonight, urine test, this, that, he comes, or whatever. He comes out, but nothing happened between him and Cocaine that night. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, the match between him and Cocaine happened, but it's like their storylines they're not long term. It's like it doesn't go past what happens this week. You know what I'm saying? So what happens? Okay, that led to that. Okay, now we have our fight and move on. You understand what I'm saying? Like, their storylines are very. They're not complicated. They're not complex. They're just short, really short, and you don't really get the plot. You have to like sit down and then watch it again and go, okay, wait, so what happened? Okay, so he finally got him to take the urine test, and then the zombies went and got him. And okay, then he wound up fighting one-on-one against this guy the following week. Well, what about the zombies? They're tag team. You understand what I'm saying? Like it's like they just had incidents happen, but there's no story that it builds up and carries over, and it's a feud, and they just don't do that. And for that to be the case, it's difficult for people. It's going to be difficult for people to really sink their teeth into it and really like, okay, I love what just happened here. I think that JCW, like I said, it's a fun show to watch. By the way, this show is called Lunacy for y'all that don't know. But I just don't see any real growth with that company. With Vince going there to he said himself, They're doing 12 shows a week. That's what he said, 12 a week. So he's writing all this stuff and how difficult it is. Well, of course. And the problem with Vince, though, is this. For a guy that talks as much shit that you talk about Tony Khan, which AEW, I don't know what the fuck you guys are talking about. And salute AEW because they won Sports Illustrated Wrestling Company of the Year, Best Wrestler of the Year, Pro Story. I mean, everything. They won 10 awards. 10 awards. Okay? So, for a guy that talks as much shit as he talks about other people, your fucking appearance on show number 1 should have been a home run. You should have knocked it out the park. Because you're talking like you got all the answers. You know what to do to fix everybody's problem. You know how to put a wrestling show together like nobody else. And basically, it's going to be a process. Of course it is, Vince. Then that's the thing. And that's going to be your excuse is how much writing you have to do. He says all the stories are going to start to connect and you'll see it. Okay. But even in me watching your stories, how interesting do you think those stories are? And that's the thing. There's no real significant change for the better in JCW. It's still a fun little show to watch. But yeah, I mean, there are things that happen that I can understand why people will lose interest in, but there are some fun things that happen. I'm just not somebody, I know it's all the work. So I'm not one of these people that's sitting up here like, I'm ready to start making videos telling everybody that, hey, JCW sucks and you shouldn't watch this show, whatever. No, I just don't see them in a position to grow like they could. And again, PCO, he's now coming to JCW. Another old guy. Madman Pondo. Vampiro, Vince Russo, PCO. Hey, you guys realize PCO used to wrestle in ECW? You know how long ago ECW was gone? I mean, they keep bringing all these old guys in, and this is exactly the point of what I'm saying is they don't have any talent that stands out, man. Look, Willie Mack at best mid-card. Matt Cardona at best mid-card. Kerry Morton at best mid, all of them. PCO at best mid card. No, everybody you name mid card. So outside of you having a special guest wrestler that comes and just like I said, to come to fill the card up, it's gonna be a different situation for them now because with a guy like let's say for example, your champion is Matt Cardona. What does it do for JCW to see Matt Cardona pin Willie Mack or pin, Too Tough Tony, anybody else that's supposed to be top level there, but then they watch you, their world champion, get beat and get pinned in other companies? You understand what I mean? So even like if WWE has some type of thing where they work out a deal or however it goes, let's say he pops up and like him winning against lesser opponents, this shit doesn't do anything for JCW. It does nothing for JCW. If Matt Cardona was treated the way CM Punk and Cody Rhodes and all of them, then now we're getting somewhere. But that's the thing about it. They're not going to allow that guy, Matt Cardona, to go in there and beat a top level guy. But this is your champion, a mid-card guy named Matt Cardona. But again, like I said, I don't think it's not a bad show overall. But the way the show is structured, it feels a lot like the NWA in certain ways. Like the NWA, I want to talk about them as well in closing. I want to see Lunacy grow. I want to see all this shit just grow and get to the point where we have so much to watch and just enjoy. So just with the flick of a fucking finger boot, we could just watch whatever and it's all enjoyable. Anyway, look, salute to them over there at Lunacy. I do want to see them grow, but Vince got to have a different approach, man. He in his tenure while he's there, he has to see things and take advice and really pay attention to what's being said about the company, because, you know, the people that's talking are the ones watching. And if they're, you know, not satisfied with the product, they're going to stop watching. So we want to see JCW grow. And like I said, I think the show is fun to watch. They do have some fun factors, but there's some goofball shit that goes on and just some very uninteresting stuff that goes on as well. NWA. Everything about NWA, it feels like they record different shows and then take pieces of each one of these shows and put them together and fit that into, let's make this a edit into, like, you know, a 2-hour show or hour and a half show, whatever it is that they do. It just doesn't feel like you're watching a show that was formatted to where every segment, even though like this wrestler has an issue with this one and not this one, that one, this one, everybody have their own separate issues. It's just like when you watch it, you just feel like it feel like a compilation of matches. It just doesn't feel like a show, like a live show that was like, you know, like it just doesn't have that. And the same thing, the laziness, man, where, you know, only they do have people interview the wrestlers, but WWE, I got to get into them next. I got to get into them in close. Let me just say for NWA, you guys have a TV deal, a streaming deal with, who is it, Roku? Okay, let me say, one of the hardest things about NWA following their stories is that they have segments that have nothing to do with the matches. I swear I was watching a segment where they had these two transsexual guys with mixed in this group with this other guy and this female or whatever, and they're just arguing and having segments. It's like commercials. That's what it feel like. Like they're making ads, their own ads, but the ads are part of their show. And whatever the hell you're watching has nothing to do with the match. So they put all of this emphasis on these weird segments. So when the match happens, you're like, okay, wait, what was that last segment about? Why was this? Okay. I really don't understand what the hell NWA is doing. Like, I don't. It's hard to follow what the hell is supposed to be happening. It's like you just see a match, an ad, match, a segment, but it doesn't add up. WWE, if you're going to use Trick Williams, don't bury him. For the fans of the WWE, you guys that keep saying Trick Williams is going to be the Rock of this generation and Javon Evans, okay, let me point out something. Trick Williams has a presence. He has a character that you definitely don't see him as the same Trick Williams that you've seen a couple months ago. As far as what the WWE is going to write for him, that's what you guys got to not overlook and don't assume they're going to just get it right all of a sudden. Javon Evans is just too jive. Yo, dog, I've been checking you out, though. You know what I'm saying? I see you out there doing your thing, you know. Too jive, man. Stereotypical shit. And he has the presence like of a little kid. All right, so Javon Evans, like I'm saying, wrestling fans in general are not going to cling to that character. You know, yeah, he can high fly and do all of that type of stuff, right? And like, it's like Matt Riddle, to me, when I used to watch Matt Riddle, way before he came to WWE, right before he started that, yo, bruh, shit, like he was some high surfer motherfucker or whatever, Matt Riddle had a different attitude. It's something about trying to make these wrestlers like act really immature and give them some like weird type gimmick. Javon Evans, his character, he doesn't seem like a grown adult. He seems like a kid. You know what I'm saying? And that you know, that little jive persona that they give him, it's I can't see him going far with that. I really don't. Are they trying to design his character to, appeal to kids? Talking real jive and shit, all the slang shit, and just the way his character is. I just don't see that shit getting over. I really don't. And I feel like he's like, I think people also, they get confused when they hear like, you get some cheers from the fans. We're talking about, wrestlers getting over and becoming like attractions, right? Like people want to see this person wrestle. He might, turn a few heads of this generation, maybe a few heads, but he's not being talked about a lot. And I'm telling you, Trick Williams, somebody knew he needed to develop more of an attitude, like a character. The crazy thing is this, right? It seemed like the characters that get over the most are the heels. It seemed like there's just more put into a heel character than there is a face character. And when I look at Trick Williams now versus how he was just some months ago, it's a different Trick Williams. Now, how far he goes, I don't know. That I don't know. But I can tell you this. He will get far more attention than Javon Evans will. He will, as of now especially, he looks far more promising. And then Javon Evans, like his voice, his appearance, even like Dominic Mysterio, his look is so whack, man. He just has a whack look. Now, if he wasn't the son of Rey Mysterio, we know he wouldn't even be in the position that he's in. But it's something about people with this little boy, little girl, really immature. It's something about the WWE. This is the direction that they are going in. It really is. And again, when you watch, that's why I said, if you watch pro wrestling, fuck all that old school, new school shit. Just look at how grown men looked like grown men. And of course, through time, you always have characters that come in that, they are different personas. And yeah, you had silly motherfuckers, you had goofy motherfuckers, yeah. But I'm saying, like, the Repo Man was silly. But he didn't look like a kid. You understand what I mean? There's so many characters that you look at, like grown men just look like grown men. Grown women look like grown women. If you go back to WCW days, when they had 3 count, right? 3 count didn't look like kids, but they basically had like a boy band type gimmick, and it's like, I understood what WCW was doing with them, but it didn't appeal to me. And of course, one of them, Shane Helms, became the Hurricane, and he was just a gimmick. That was it. There's nothing that he fucking did in the ring that you cared about, other than him just being a gimmick. And I feel like in this era, right now, this era of the WWE, they have gotten so detached from reality, man, to like what the fans actually really care about overall. Their product is so stale and just like it's all over the place with this weird stuff. I get for the people that say like, hey, listen, you want to see these young brothers with promising futures or whatever. I'm for me personally, I'm not focused on your hoops and dreams. I'm focused on just being entertained. But yeah, me being a black man, of course, I'm not stupid. I'm not going to act like I don't, like I see like Montez Ford. We've been talking about this shit. We already know. We already know, how they've been treating Montez Ford and his partner. And we see what happens. We understand that. And this is exactly why I'm saying when you guys are calling, Trick Williams, this version's rock. No. 2 different people, 2 different personas. And you got to understand something too, all right? Again, they're affiliated with Trump. Yeah. And they will do enough to try to get you some notoriety. But if y'all think that Obafemi, Javon Evans, and Trick Williams are going to be the face of WWE, you guys are really delusional. Like, you really can't believe that that's what's going to happen. And listen, this isn't saying they're not worthy of it. I'm saying bottom line, the WWE is not going to let that happen. They will not, and let's just say it like it is. They will not ever want to have you ever at any point in time seen 3 black wrestlers all at the same time dominate shit? Have you ever seen that? No, you haven't. And even like when you had, and please don't say the Nation of Domination, it was just a black group put together. There was nothing dominant about them. And don't say anything about the Hurt Business, because basically the only dominant force that they had was Bobby Lashley, and he wasn't that dominant because remember, he lost to Goldberg. We talk about an old Goldberg. All right. So we knew that. No, they didn't have Roman Reigns and Bobby Lashley on the same plateau. Bobby Lashley was the other champion, but the real champion was seen as who? Roman Reigns. We know that. And we see how Bobby Lashley's reign ended versus Roman Reigns'. It's not the same thing. And so no, it's not even close. So if you guys think that those 3 are somehow going to be the face of SmackDown, Raw, or NXT for that matter, listen, none of them, okay, they all made it to the main roster. Let's put it like that. And no. Not saying they won't ever be world champion. Not saying, and belts don't really mean shit anyway in the WWE. They don't mean shit. It's all about who they feel the most. And basically, you will get the most attention and the most time. I don't want to see Trick Williams like this. I don't even give a fuck. I'm just giving you news because I really don't even care about the WWE. But let's put it like this. Do you want to see Trick Williams come out and do the same thing Cody Rhodes is doing? Just walk out every fucking week with a belt on his shoulder and just talk shit, and the only time he wrestles at a pay-per-view? Do you want to see Oba Femi do that? Do you want to see, Javon Evans do that? Like, no. So this next generation, whatever they have in store for them with the Braun Breakers and all of them, if y'all think that, and I'm just being real with you, if y'all think that somehow the 3 faces of the WWE are going to be 3 black, dark-skinned motherfuckers on top of that, you guys are tripping. That is not what's going to happen. That is not what you're going to see. And at the end of the day, typical, they always talk about how high the black wrestler can jump, how he's the best pure athlete in the whole WWE, shit like that. But it's like black quarterbacks in the NFL. They will always bring up Joe Montana, John Elway, Dan Marino. They'll always bring them up. Roger Staubach, Terry Bradshaw. They're not going to bring up Warren Moon. They're not going to bring up, Michael Vick or any of them. Nope. They don't bring them up ever. And I really personally don't care about personal stats and all this goat shit. I don't care about any of that. I don't idolize anybody. Fuck all of them as far as I'm concerned. Black, white, green, whatever the fuck you are. I just watch things for the entertainment. I'm not here to argue over greatest of all time. I don't even believe in that bullshit. But just saying, plain and simple, you will not see what you think or what you want to see. You're not going to see that. You are not, the WWE is not going to have some dark-skinned motherfucker standing in the middle of the ring being called the face of the WWE. They will have you as a contender. They will not push you enough. They don't have enough belief in you. They use you enough to try to get your demographic of people to watch, and then, okay, they have this delusion that once that happens, it's just automatic. Nope. Look at R-Truth. What is he? People talk about how much they love R-Truth. What is it about R-Truth you love so much? All those 5-star matches he's had? All those great storylines he's been in? No. For being a buffoon, for being a clown. That's all he's known for. Mr. Funny Man. All of what he's contributed and what he's done in the WWE, when you talk about multiple championship reigns, does anybody care about that 24/7 champion? No. Does anybody care about anything? So when you talk about R-Truth matches, nobody's talking about great matches he's been in, because they don't exist. They're talking about him just being R-Truth, his character, and how he connects with the people. That's all they talk about. What do you think they're going to say about Trick Williams? He can wrestle. He's a pure athlete. He's this, he's that. Wait, Trick Williams will not be the face. And definitely not Obafemi. I mean, goddamn, you already see how these motherfuckers feel about black Americans. This motherfucker's a foreigner. So you are imagine, you already know how they feel about him. And again, Javon Evans, he look at him. Look, let's be real, man. Carmelo Hayes is a complete athlete. And you know what I'm saying? Look at how they use him. So even when they decide, okay, people complaining, let's throw a belt on somebody, that's not enough. That's not enough. They don't get the same treatment as a Cody Rhodes and a CM Punk. They're not going to get that. They're not going to get what Roman Reigns got. Why you think it's not a black man walking around talking about some all gas, no brakes? Let's get somebody else that's not black to act black. That's how they see you. Y'all don't get this shit by now? And this is exactly what I'm saying about when it comes to how the WWE roll. Stop telling yourselves things that's not true. And stop looking for something that is not even in the cards. Reality is this. Their focus isn't great wrestling and entertaining the fans. Their focus is breaking your pockets and feeding you what the hell they want to feed you and telling you this is our vision. Fuck your vision. And that's just the way it is. That's all I got for you guys right now. Catch you guys on the next video.